Plata, Vrata, Niktu, Kundar. No, it was supposed to work. No. Hey, welcome back to my channel. Hope you're all doing well out there. And today we're going to discuss that book right there. But before we do that, do me a favor, like, comment, and subscribe. Join me here. I would appreciate that. Today we're going to talk about the Evil Dead remake from 2013. Matter of fact, it came out April 5th of 2013. The theatrical cut was an hour and 31 minutes long. The unrated cut, which is the one I am reviewing, is an hour and 36 minutes long. And this movie had a $17 million budget, and upon release that year, it made $54 million in America and $97 worldwide. And this was co-written and directed by Fede Alvarez. He would go on right after this to do the movie Don't Breathe with the same lead actress. If you've never seen Don't Breathe, check it out. It's a pretty great kick-ass thriller. And in this film, we got Jane Levy as Mia. We got Shiloh Fernandez as David. They are brother and sister, although they've been estranged for some time. Jessica Lucas plays Olivia, and she is a nurse and also a good friend of Mia. And her boyfriend's along for the ride, and David's girlfriend's along for the ride to the cabin in the woods. Now, right in the beginning of this film, we see some kind of ritual going on. This girl is tied to a post in the basement, and her father is reading a passage and dousing her in gasoline, what we find out, and they light her on fire, and she is a deadite because she tells him she's going to tear his soul apart. And he blasts her in the face with a shotgun, blowing her head apart, and we are into the film. This is when we're introduced to our group of 20-somethings, and they're going off to the family cabin, Mia and David's family cabin. And David had been away from Mia for a while. Their mom had passed away, and David did not come see her before. He didn't want to see her in that state. So they have kind of a little bit of a contentious relationship. But the reason for this trip to the cabin in the woods is that Mia is a drug addict, and their plan is to have this weekend where she goes cold turkey. Olivia is a nurse, and she brings some IVs and other shots with her to help Mia along in her transition to sobriety, hopefully. And pretty soon, Mia's going through withdrawals, and in the meantime, she smells this awful smell coming from the basement. They go on down to the basement, and there's all these cats hanging from the ceiling. They find a burnt out post in the basement where they toasted that girl in the beginning. And they find a shotgun, a cut off double barrel shotgun, some shells, and a book wrapped in plastic and barbed wire, which Olivia's boyfriend decides to cut open and read. And you know where this is going. If you've ever seen the original Evil Dead or Evil Dead 2 or Army of Darkness, you have some sense of shit's about to hit the fan. And that's exactly what happens. Mia starts freaking out. She gets possessed. And pretty soon, the carnage flows. Oh, yes, the carnage flows. We get very gory moments in this film. And at the end of the film, once Mia is resurrected by David, and he gets killed, so basically everybody's dead except for this deadite that raises from the ground and Mia has to destroy. It looks like Mia, only in deadite form. And it actually rains blood, and Mia dispatches of it by bisecting it with a chainsaw. And she gets out, although in the unrated cut, the ending's a little bit different. We get like a jump scare, and then you get, in the theatrical cut, you see Bruce Campbell, his Ash character, in silhouette, and he turns to the camera and goes groovy, and that's the end of the Evil Dead remake. Well, what to like about this film? I think it's well shot by Fede Alvarez. I think he does a really nice job, and he even uses some shots that Sam Raimi used in the original. Although this is definitely his own film, it's very similar to the original film, although we have different characters. Obviously, Ash is not here. And that was one smart thing they really did, is not recast somebody to play Ash, because there's nobody else that can play that character besides Bruce Campbell. If they would have done that, the fans would have revolted. The movie probably would have bombed, no matter how good it is, because you can't, it's an iconic character, and Bruce Campbell is awesome in the role. You can't recast it. So they did a smart thing of going with different characters and different situation, where they're going out with this purpose so Mia can go cold turkey and get off the drugs she is on. which is a noble enterprise in itself. Unfortunately, Olivia's jackass boyfriend had to read from the book, and pretty soon the Deadites come from that. The gore effects are spectacular. I mean, this is a very intense film. There's not a lot of cheese here, honestly. It's very intense, very gory, and the unrated cut's even more gorier than the theatrical cut. So if you haven't seen the unrated cut and you like Carnage Candy, check it out, because there are moments that go on longer and are definitely more bloodier than the theatrical cut. I think I like Mia as a character. Jane Levy does a great job in this role. I think everybody is pretty good across the board here. And once the carnage hits and the evil starts, it doesn't stop until the end. This is definitely a freight train of a movie. Once it gets going, there's no stopping it until that ending that we get where Mia bisects the Deadite with the chainsaw. It's a really well done horror film. And it's a really good remake, honestly. It's one of the better remakes from an original classic like The Evil Dead. And I think it helps that Sam Raimi, Rob Tappert, and Bruce Campbell produced this film. So they helped shepherd it along. They shot this in New Zealand. The film was originally rated NC-17 by the MPAA. If you see the unrated cut, you can see why it got slapped with NC-17. The film used, for all the gore effects, was all practical. The raining blood was all practical. The only CGI in the film is some fire effects and to remove some wires. So you always got to give the filmmakers credit for using practical over CGI because it just looks better, let's be honest. The unrated cut has about 5 or 6 minutes more of footage, and the ending's a little different, but it definitely has more gore. So again, if you love Carnage Candy, seek out the unrated cut. Is there any drawbacks to this film? Obviously, Olivia's boyfriend has to do something really stupid and read from this book that's bound in barbed wire. If you find a book wrapped in plastic and wrapped in barbed wire, you leave it the hell alone or burn it. And he just reads from it because he's curious. I get that, but it's dumb. He does pull off a stupid ass maneuver, and they all pay for it with their lives except for Mia, who's the only survivor here. Other than that, I mean, obviously you can't help but compare. They take the actions back at this cabin. We get to see a version of the classic rusted out on the side of the cabin. It's not Sam Raimi's actual car. They kind of just made one that kind of looked like it. I think it's a well-done remake. I don't think it's perfect, but for a remake to a classic, a film that I hold dear as The Evil Dead and the trilogy, Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness, Fede Alvarez did a really nice job here. And at the end of the day, I would give The Evil Dead Remake an 8.5 out of 10. It's a really well-done, intense, gory movie. And if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, check it out. I'm doing this review because Evil Dead Rise is coming out this week. I'm very excited about that one. Any new Evil Dead movie I'll take. I know Ash isn't in it, but still, I think there's some cool moments to mine from this franchise if you can keep it fresh and keep the intensity. It looks like this one's going to be pretty intense. So yeah, an 8.5 out of 10 for Evil Dead 2013. What are your thoughts on this remake? Leave a comment down below. Let me know. Hit the thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button. Share this video. Great, would appreciate that. I'll be back soon with an out of the theater reaction for Evil Dead Rise. But until next time, bye.